faces. See, the ladies in the room know what I'm talking about, okay? I do makeup. Are we good? Okay. So this is the part where I introduce myself. My birth name is Manuel Roberto Orduña Carretero. That was too many syllables for my little sister, so she called me Toto. To the rest of my family, it was Manuel Roberto. That was too foreign for American integration, so I was whitewashed to Robert. That was too boring for a boy who didn't know how to blend in, so I became Chibbi. In looking at my lineage, I found that I am an ancestry of lost civilizations and colonized assimilations. Aztec and Spaniard, it seems I am both conquistador and conquered. So I was always on the hunt for a lost identity, found clues in my curly hair and copper skin baked in the southern sun, the drawl of a language that walks slowly in this heat, the clipping of words when I'm fixing to tell y'all I found out I'm a first-generation Texan. That is what the teacher taught me in state history class, and I listened. When he talked about the Alamo, he juggled a curriculum that clashed with his own tongue. His accent told me he was probably more a descendant of Miguel Hidalgo than Davy Crockett, but his words told me to be proud, to be grateful of those that died. The rights and privileges currently afforded to me were bought and paid for by American blood. Who was I to deny the red, white, and blue looming a lone star of conquest in the corner of the classroom? Today I watch two sides debate the fate of lost dreamers, a modern-day Alamo, everyone claiming this land is my home. Children native to this soil are uprooted, and we send a call up to heaven. San Antonio de Padua, we pray they find their way. And I think, this is wasted breath. These dreamers are not lost, they are displaced. And I think of myself, and I find truth in their stories of a childhood of two cultures, of English in the classroom and Spanish at home, of tostadas for lunch and meatloaf for dinner, as they tried to find a balance between borders. And I think of myself and the many titles I've held: a Mexican birth certificate, a resident alien card, a Texas driver's license, an American passport. I find I am all of them, and my story of a blended experience should not be the exception. For those that feel they are lost when a country tells them they don't belong, when the barrios and the suburbs in the same city seem oceans apart, when those that oppress us do so from the head of a table that was built by indigenous people and immigrants together, let me remind you, the blood of millions of Mexicans toiled this soil long before America manifest destiny its seed on our ground. So don't tell me to go back to where I came from when this border crossed me, Mr. President. I found a culture that was made in a melting pot under the South Texas sun, where we celebrate both vaqueros and cowboys and the Coahuiltecans that roam these hills before either. I found identity isn't singular. Who I am can be found in the laugh lines of my abuelo's smile, the song my papa sings that reminds me what pride sounds like, and the spoonfuls of salsa on my mama's plate of vigas. I found my identity was never lost. It is formed by the people, the history, and the culture that surrounds me. It is a quilted story that is being written every day. Who I am is not in my name, it is in my voice. So when I speak, you will know who I am. Thank you. I have found, it is my humble opinion, that all poems are about one of three things, and that is identity, love, or social commentary. And that's about it. And tacos. But, and the best one, that's love, right? The best ones do a little bit of both, and it is so important for us to speak our truth, you know? And so much we are told that we shouldn't, right? That we should stay quiet. So, I shouldn't be writing this poem. Some people think that I don't have the right. Confession number one. I was born in a city with more letters in its name than Sesame Street could sponsor in a whole season. I held a resident alien card so long I wondered if eventually my skin would turn green. I can hold out a grito like un mariachi chingona. Y mueve las caderas bien sexy como Shakira. These baby-making hips do not lie. Hay un fuego adentro, a fire inside that can only be fueled by habaneros and carne asadas. And yet, I can name the 50 states in alphabetical order faster than tequila tends to disappear at a family reunion. But still, I shouldn't be writing this poem. Some people would say that I don't have the right. Confession number two. Football and soccer are both equally confusing to me. See, in high school, PE did not stand for physical education, but rather painfully excruciating. I wore blazers and bow ties while other kids wore khakis and polos. I found music and math to be far more interesting than monster trucks, but I could still kick your ass at Mortal Kombat, so long as you let me be
Sub-Zero.
But nobody wanted to be known as a guy that got his ass kicked by a fag, so I can see why I shouldn't be writing this poem, why you think that I don't have the right. Confession number 3, I have a hard time getting through church. Maybe I just didn't believe that I could search for God if I was sitting still. Once, I thought I found God in the Spice Girls. I am not kidding. Maybe it was their individuality that made them so universal, but I thought that is what God must be like, so unique and diverse that everybody, no matter who they are, sees their image in God, and God in their image. I see God in everybody, and usually I will take God home at the end of the night, and He is always beautiful, and we will find God together, and God damn it, they cannot tell us that we are wrong. But they are still telling us that we are not right, that I shouldn't be writing this poem, and I don't have that right. Truth is, I shouldn't have to write this poem. I shouldn't live in a state that protects bigotry and homophobia and calls it traditional family values, where the right to discriminate is given precedence over the right to life, where the facts are irrelevant as long as the fear is real. The city of Houston sadly set the example, gave hate-based fear a public podium for people's private moments when they decided that equal protection under the law came second to dictating bathroom privileges. It surprises me where hate chooses to target. High school is hard enough. Why does the government feel like it has to be the biggest bathroom bully? But hey, I shouldn't be writing this poem. My name is Manuel Roberto Orduña Carretero. I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, and yes, I am gay. None of these are a choice. Misinformation, that's a choice. Manipulation of the facts, that's a choice. Ignorance, that casts votes for politicians that push hatred and bigotry and racism and homophobia and call it traditional family values, where the facts are irrelevant so long as the fear is real. Maybe fear will make America great again. Maybe I shouldn't be writing this poem. Maybe I don't have that right. But I have been wrong enough times to know that nobody is perfect, and if my existence and persistence offends you, I forgive you. Woo! So I had the honor and the privilege of being on the San Antonio Puro Slam team last year, and we ended up taking 3rd place in the nation in Group Peace Finals, which was the first title, which was the first title that San Antonio had since 1999, so that was absolutely incredible. We made this chapbook that has all of our group pieces in it, and if it's all right with you, I'd like to read a couple from it. Is that cool? Let's do it. All right. The labor that goes into feeding American families passes through the hands of those barely passing by. The fruit of their labor is lost to your indifference. From the fields to the trucks to the markets to the kitchens, the supply line that feeds you your food has names and wasn't made in America. He lived in a town called Sal Si Puedes, which means get out if you can, because nobody was expected to except this man. Cesar Chavez knew the struggle. Born to farm workers among farm workers who would stay farm workers, getting picked to hop in the pickup truck to pick up the peppers because Peter Piper is the boss now. Peter lays in the shade, working Pablo like a slave because Peter says you get paid by the pound. You get your daily bread by the sweat of your brow, and you hope to catch a break this season because you nearly broke your back getting broccoli before, maybe orange and snacks because your back is too sore to bend over, even if you have to bend over to the gringo to get that job. Cesar Chavez knew the struggle, knew what it felt like to get robbed of an opportunity, thought himself worthy of a job, but no one was picking Mexicans that season. So he went back to the fields where he picked hermanos, took these silent workers from the fields and the farms to the table in the boardroom in arms where he went to clear the air. Didn't you know? The growers had filled the air with pesticides while the workers and their children were still outside. He marched into battle by marching into Sacramento, taught revolution to those who thought the solution was ignoring sufrimiento, showed them the bottom line ain't no match for the picket line. The bottom line ain't no match for the picket line. But today, we are still just as blind. Every season, workers leave behind families and comfort with the hopes and dreams of earning enough money to support those hungry back home that came here alone with nothing but desire. But no one will hire a man without papeles unless you let his hands pick your lettuce. He was left of his dignity is in those hands. This is how a man stands behind his family when Uncle Sam says, in the land of the free, never mind who you used to be, doctors, lawyers, engineers, your degree don't matter. You get back to the line and you start over. Red Rover, let cheap labor come over. But we couldn't leave our voices at the border. Together we stand in order to remember the man that wouldn't let another man, woman, or child die for crop shares and stock shares that put profits over people every time. Ya ves? Cesar, Estrada, Chavez. No, we're not done. The battle ain't won. We stand on the shoulders of a 5'6" giant who wouldn't stay silent, chanting, "Si se puede." Yes, we can. Si se puede. Si se puede. Si se puede. We still can. Todavía se puede.
Make some noise for your feature poet, Chibbi. Okay. This is where I make a brief announcement. So Chibbi traveled all the way here, took all the time to between his husband and work to perform here tonight. So I'm going to pass this tip jar around. Chibbi also has merchandise for sale, don't you, Chibbi?
I do.
You have books. How much are your books?
My book is $15. The Grill Piece book is $5. Special one night only, 2 for $20.
Whoa! The math checks out. So 2 for $20. Can't afford not to buy it. All right, so I'm gonna pass this tip jar around. Make sure it gets back to that beautiful young man named Zachary Hill. Zachary Hill, wave your hand. He's the end point. All right, thank you so much. Make some noise for Chibbi.
Yeah!
That poem was written by myself and a poet named Eddie V, who is the second best haiku poet in the nation. Shout out to Eddie V. And this next poem was written by Rooster Maddox and myself. In the place, in the time that we live in. It always seems like brown and black voices are getting the short end of the stick, right? So this is a poem kind of about that. Because they say that love trumps hate, but really, sweet, rich, white justice trumps everything else. Did you elect a criminal to public office? Don't worry, he's got enough cash to buy get-out-of-jail-free cards for his entire cabinet. Facing sexual assault charges? Don't fret. The jury will be focused on your swim times to punish you for 20 minutes of action. Were you a greedy shit banker that caused the country's economy to collapse? No sweat. You've stolen enough money to tip the scales of justice, slide a few Benjamins into the bills of Congress, and write your own fucking laws. This is sweet, rich, white justice. A privilege accruing interest on the backs of our hardships. It rains on the just and unjust alike, but only some can afford a lifeboat to escape the flood. See, it's closed doors that keep us in the dark, while old white men debate a woman's right to her own body, claim justice for the unborn while putting prenatal care on the chopping block. It's 2017, and a death sentence passes through the house on the poor. I forgot to put a red X on my door, and now I'm a pre-existing condition. Healthy trees and a clean ocean aren't green enough for the Trump administration, so the politicians feed the corporate fetish for fucking the environment. This is sweet, rich, white justice, y'all. It's a game of privilege where the size of your buy-in increases your chances of winning. It appears we're playing the same game, but your race, gender, tax bracket, but you a different deck. It's an asymmetrical distribution of what's legal with loopholes in the shape of dollar signs. Prison bars? Psh. Admission of wrongdoing? Nah. Settle that shit out of court, my G. I got millionaire moves to make. Because laws and litigations are just double-jointed escape acts, and we ask, is it magic? Or is it sweet, rich, white justice? Because the noise of our protests don't reach the ears of those on the other side of the wage gap. Sounds like a penny in a wishing well. Sounds like a pipe dream. Sounds like 1% wolf, 99% scapegoat. Sounds like they forgot about us. And I remember learning when black bodies were split into 3/5, when taking Texas from Mexicans was manifest destiny, when people of color and poor whites were worked to death from the cotton fields to the cargo ships to the coal mines to right here, right now, and that question, when were we ever considered? The easy answer is never. The hard answer is the one you can monetize, because money talks, and sweet, rich, white justice beats the case and walks on the backs of our silence. Especially in an election year, it's so important to tell your story, right? I only recently started writing about my family because sometimes our story is made up of our past, and where we came from. So this is a poem about my family. You couldn't tell by looking at me, or so I've been told. My words catch people off guard when I break into Spanish, como que no esperaban que este chico tuviera una historia más fuerte de lo que pueden ver. When I break into Spanish, I met with surprise and awe. It must be my skin. Confusing cover for most, their eyes, rounding facial features not easily boxed, complexion the color of in-between. Checkbox 1 for white. Checkbox 2 for white Hispanic. Checkbox 3 for vete a la verga, pendejo, entitled. And they catch me in their crosshairs and ask, what are you? But my skin will not tell you that. Underneath my skin is my heart. It beats to the rhythm of a cannon. Each beat a command. I was taught the fight is often necessary. It is where you came from. This cannon sounds like history, sounds like land, liberty, and family, sounds like wish you would, so I can show you how I stand my ground as I rattle this gunfire, reticulating words ricochet off the face of your confusion as I show you what I am. Y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. But this cannon is not what I am. Aún hay más. Underneath my heart is a river pumping. Even in my sleep, I feel mi familia. My river is thick, like my abuelos laugh at the dinner table. Tequila in one hand, cerveza in the other, and a smile full of stories. My river knows how to have a good time. No, my river does not divide. My river entices. Smells like pan dulce in the morning. My abuela started last night while making checklists, shaking diapers, making possibility, making a home, making strength seem so effortless. This legacy se ha desbordado. This current has spread across 4 countries. This river runs underneath over 40 temples. Call us holy. We do not break easily. Call us fortress. Amamos como los guerreros de nuestro pasado. All love, all pride, all diamond heart truth, all open doors, no matter how long it's been, and a warm meal to say, welcome home. Call us familia. What I am isn't the color of my skin. It isn't mi tierra, the country I came from. It isn't even this cannon. I am this river. And in it lives la historia de mi gente. El amor es poder y nunca estamos solos. This river is an army. So go ahead. Ask me what I am one more time. We're out here telling our story. Give a big round of applause to everybody that came up here and told their truth tonight. Because so many times, other people try and tell our truth for us. So, in anticipation for the release of the movie now known as Coco, Disney tried to trademark the phrase, Dia de los Muertos. The following is a response poem. No mames, cabrón, estás pero bien pendejo pensando que tu chingadero no iba a soltar la rabia de la gran gente de nuestro México. Chale, obviamente tienes un putero de pinches gringos trabajando con sus cabezas adentro de tu culo. Siéntate, cierra el hocico, escúchame y vete a la verga, hijo de tu puta pinche madre. Which is to say, fuck you, Disney. Are the ashes of my ancestors worth more in America if you can make a Halloween costume out of them? Did you honestly think that you were big enough to copyright a culture? Did you not see that sugar skulls were just the tip of the iceberg? Maybe iceberg is the wrong metaphor because that would imply that it is cold and dead inside, and the roots of my heritage fight for life. Pierce through dirt and grime, push aside rock and immovable object to find water, sing that growth through the surface, pack a trunk full of culture, reach out wide in every direction and bear this fruit. I am the fruit of centuries of survival, and you think that you could strip away the bark and make it easily digestible for a buck? I get it. This is America, a country founded by white men taking what didn't belong to them. Cultural appropriation is as patriotic as misogyny, and corporate America is the big pimp money-making machine behind Abuelita chocolate and Jemima pancakes and Buddha. Namaste, white girl in $80 yoga pants. See, Disney's been poaching indigenous people since Pocahontas thought they could paint with all the colors of the wind so long as a white hand was holding a brush. Does it surprise anybody that it took a Twitter tirade to get them to realize that blood, religion, and heritage does not come with a suggested retail value? So glad you got the memo. Before you make a movie about a culture, make sure that culture has a voice in your movie. I have one more poem for you. Yeah, it's happening. Because we all want to know know who's going to finals next week, right? I have one more poem for you, and it's on a topic that I feel like is not often discussed. Like this is a very serious topic that we really need to speak up more about because it's often ignored. See, there is a boy with a poem that you need to hear, and it is uncomfortable. This boy has an erection and just got called on in class and now has to walk to the dry erase board very, very awkwardly. He does not know why he got an erection. Sometimes these things just happen, okay? Maybe he got an erection because he thinks that Mr. Garcia, the English teacher, has a hot ass, but this boy is uncomfortable and probably will not admit that until many years later. Many years later, this boy is done worrying about making everybody else comfortable. He will no longer conceal his joy, his lust, his pleasure. He will proudly display his erection for everyone to see. His poem is about cocksucking. Yeah. This poem might make you uncomfortable, but this boy is quite comfortable addressing the pink elephant trunk in the room. He has a bone to pick with you, the same 7.5-inch bone that picks confession and salvation out of the back of his throat. He hums hallelujah with communion in his mouth to help you come to Jesus. This poem is titled, Mom, don't read this poem. Unless, of course, Mom has a problem with the way two individuals show love to each other, in which case this poem is titled, Mom, please read this poem. Y'all need to stop pretending like you are offended, like you are disgusted, like you don't love burying your face bush deep in the sexual of your organ of your partner or partners of your choosing. And if you don't, that's okay. Because this poem will not tell you what to do with your body just because we have different parts or preferences. This boy will not tell you how to worship your lover just because we have different ideas as to how we pray on our knees. This boy is tired of listening to rhetoric. He will not apologize for what he puts in his mouth when you won't apologize for what comes out of yours. Every hot coal you speak, every commandment you spit at us, every law that you think will break us cannot compare to the strength that comes out of this mouth and the love that comes in it. Everybody say, ah! Say, ah! Good, you have a mouth and a tongue, and this boy can think of two things that those are good for, orgasms and education. This tongue can make you come, but let your tongue tell me that my love is wrong. Tell me that we don't deserve your rights. Tell me that God didn't make me this way. And this mouth will teach you a thing or two and make you wish that next time you came, better prepared. This boy is a man now. This man has a husband. Try and take that away and see if this head don't give you whiplash. Now, if you'll excuse me, this tongue has a poem. I mean, revolution. I mean, husband. It has to finish. Thank you! Yeah!
One more pump. 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 Respect the mic. Respect.
Shut the fuck up. This is Versailles.
Whataburger.
Oh, to Whataburger. Someday I want to be a rich gay. I want to wake up in a world where my biggest decision is having to decide what pair of Bumblebee Eye Dolce & Gabbana sunglasses goes best with my Fuck Me Pink Classic Cut Armani shirt. I mean, you know the kind. I know you know the kind. But you know the kind with the stitching in a different color to accent my curves and the embroidered design of a dancing dragon descending from my left shoulder. I want to be a Governor Rick Perry kind of rich gay. See, if I were a rich gay, there would be no dispute when plans were made because ixnay, atway, ooye, a say it is my way or the highway. And if you choose the latter, you will be choosing to be cruising in my 1993 classic Hummer Humvee because gasoline is no sweat for me. A 30-gallon tank is what I call my cock. See, if I were a rich gay, wait, let's do this the right way. If I were a rich gay, yaka-diddle-diddle, ba-ba-ba-ba-diddle-diddle-dum. All day long I'd do it in the bum if I were a wealthy fag. And I am sorry, girlfriend. I know I told you, I understood the night you cried to me about the end of your 4-year relationship, but I lied. Because rich gays don't do boyfriends. I must fuck, suck, ride, nut, nibble, tickle, and torture every beefy bottom and thick, throbby top from the Rio Grande all the way to the Rio Chiquito, because we all know that size doesn't matter when you're a rich gay. I walked into a club with gold-plated testicles, and you'll be lucky if I let you shine the left one. So yeah, sometimes I want to be a rich gay because it seems like rich gays don't have to worry, you know, about things like the cute boy at Katz's Deli with the holes in his ears who smiles every time he hears my keys jingle through the front door, or the tattoo artist who seeped his ink under my skin and tattooed his name to my heart, or the junkie who joked about being clean as he shot empty promises into my veins. So yeah, I want to be a rich gay. But if someday I'm not wealthy, bathing in Chardonnay, would you love me anyway? Thank you.
Make some noise for your feature poet, Chibbi Orduña from San Antonio, Texas, all the way. Ah, wow, what an incredible night of poetry.